Hello my crafty friends. Well, today I would like to show you how to make this fun and beautiful thinking of you card, and we're going to use a few stamp sets today. We're going to use the elements of text, which is our background here, and then we are going to use our Natural Botanicals, which are forget what they call these, but you can use both sides of the stamp for these parts. And then we're going to use Faith Collection because I wanted a small thinking of you, and that's what we used right here. So, and then we're also going to use the Pretty Peacock, Pool Party, and Night of Navy for our inks. And that you can find on the color chart on the analogous colors. So we have Night of Navy, and we have Pool Party, and we have Pretty Peacock. So again, this is very helpful. I really like this. So let's go ahead and get started. We're also going to use the Country Woods Designer Series paper. That's what we have here. And so this sheet here is 4 by 5 1/4. And we're going to go ahead and stamp it up. We're going to do some blending on here, as well as some sponging around the edges. And then we're also going to texture the edges. So we got a lot of fun things to do with this card today. So let's go ahead and get started. And I realized I don't have all my stamps out here, so let's go ahead and get these out. And I'll just pull this leaf off for now. All right, so I'm going to stamp my focal point in Night of Navy. And this is from the Elements of Text stamp set. So I'm just going to ink it up and make sure it's all nice and inked up. And I'm just going to set this mainly in the center a little bit higher on the image. And there we go. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to also use some of these corner pieces to add a little texture, if you will, to the corner. So I'm just going to do that here and down here. And then there's also one other little corner piece that I'd like to use. And let's see, that block is not big enough, so let's get this block here. I'm going to just do this in the corner here and then up at the top as well. So let me get some scrap paper so I don't end up with glue on my desk. There we go. This gives it a little bit of flair, so to speak. All right, so now that we have that done, we'll go ahead and take my paper snips, and I'm going to go around the edges of this and just kind of rough them up, so to speak. It gives them a little bit of texture. And then I'm going to ink around the edges because I want kind of a blue look around my focal point here before I put it on my basic gray background. So I'm just going to go through here. And it doesn't take a lot, just to kind of get this roughed up a little bit and gives it a little bit of texture. And I think I already did this one, but I'll just go ahead and do a little more. Okay, so now I'll take my little dauber here. See, I've used this a little bit. And then I'm just going to go along the edges and give this a little bit of blue here. Get a little bit more blue. And you can get as much blue as you want if you get closer onto the paper, like so, then you have more blue, or if you just stay on the edges and just have blue on the edges. So it's kind of whatever your preference is. I like a little more blue in the corners. So just go through here like so. And a little bit more up there. All right, there we go. And we'll set that aside. Now I want a little bit of Pool Party in here. I don't know if you can see here, but there's just a little bit of Pool Party. And I'm gonna use a blending brush for that. So get my Pool Party out here. And what I want to do is I want to blend. I want to get a little bit on my brush, but I don't want it to be too harsh when I put it down. So I'm gonna put a little bit on the side there, and then I can just do a little bit on my paper, because I don't want it to be like, oh, here I am, Pool Party. I want it to be more subtle. So just, I'm gonna go all in my script here. And since Pool Party is not super dark, then you might have to press down a little bit, but you can see it's starting to come out a little bit. I'm gonna do it along these dots as well. I just want to give a little color to it. I don't want a lot, I just want a little bit. All right, so just about what I want here. A little bit more up in this corner. Okay. All right, so that piece is finished and ready to go. So the next thing we want to do is we want to stamp our focal point images here. So these are kind of two-step stamps. And so let me go ahead and put this back together here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp them and then cut them out. So let me just get this cleaned off here, and we'll get those stamps put together. All right, so put my leaf back on here. So there is a detailed edge, and then there's the back flat edge. So I'm going to put the detailed edge down, and I'm going to put the detailed edge down on this one, and then we're going to use this one as well, and then the flower. So what I want to do is get my scrap piece of paper somewhere. I don't know where it went. Here it is. Okay, so what I want to do is have just enough room for all this. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to make this one first. So I'm going to do the back side and Pool Party. So I'm just going to ink it up like so. And then I'm just going to put it right here. And then I'm going to clean it off so that I can flip it over and get the detailed image. And I'm going to use my pretty peacock for that. So just take it off your block and stick it there. And then get my pretty peacock. And I'm just going to stamp on top of this. Now they're going to be not exactly lined up. They're going to be more of an artistic look. Let's make sure I get this inked up good. And then I'm just going to line these up like so. There you go. Then clean this off real quick. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to use my Pool Party again. And this time I'm going to, make this one. And I'm going to stamp off. So I'm going to ink it up. And I want a second generation of this. So I'm going to ink it up. I'm going to stamp on my scratch pad. And then I'm going to stamp like right here, like so. It gives a much lighter combination. And then I'm going to clean this off. And then I'm going to flip this over like so, get all the water off of my block here. And I'm going to flip it over to the detailed side. And then I'm going to stamp this and I'm going to do it full strength. So again, this is more artistic, so you're just going to kind of line it up a little bit. There's going to be some that are going to be off, but it creates a really nice image there. So then I want to take my small leaf, and I'm on the flat side in this one, and then I'm going to also ink this up, and I'm going to do this full strength like so, and then I'm going to clean it off. So instead of having two stamps, you have one stamp that you flip over. They're called reversibles. And so just reverse the side, and now I'm going to have my detailed image, and I'm going to do that in Pretty Peacock. And this one lines up pretty good, so just line it up like so. Looks really nice. And then last but not least is our flower, and so we're going to do a generational stamping of the Knight of Navy, and close those up so I don't stick my finger in them. And so this is, again, this is my flower, so this is the flat side. So I'm going to ink this up like so. For some reason it's not, there we go. And then I'm going to just stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp on my paper, and then I'm going to clean this one off and flip this one over to the detailed side. Alright, so get that cleaned off and get all the water off of it. Now this is going to be on the detailed side, so I'm just going to lay it down here, and then I'm going to ink this up. Alright, and then I'm just going to line these up like so, and voila. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to cut all these out, but with the magic of video, and I'll just say, ta-da, we're cut out. So you just take your paper snips and just trim around these, leave a little white space, and then you'll have your focal point. So we have one more piece of stamping to do. Actually, we have a couple more. Is we're going to stamp on the inside, and so this is 4 by 5 1/4, same size as this, and we're just going to stamp this little image here on the inside just to give it a little something so that it's not naked on the inside. I'm just going to stamp this. Let me do it here. Let's get a couple here, like so. And then I also want to stamp my thinking of you. So this is 4 by 1/2 inch. The 4 is not as important as the 1/2 inch because we're going to trim it up. So I'm just going to stamp this here right in the middle, like so. And then I think we're done with the stamping. So I'll go ahead and snip this off. Just cut it at an angle like so. All right, so now let's adhere our card. So here's our card base, and it's basic gray, 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So go ahead and fold this here, and then what I want to do is I want to glue this down. So this again was from the Country Woods Designer Series paper pack. So I'm just going to stick this on like so. You see how our sponging on the edges creates a nice blue look. So it has the look of having cardstock there without having the weight of cardstock. And then we're going to glue this on the inside. Make sure I have this right. Yes, okay. And then glue this down like so. Okay, so this little leaf is going to go on the inside, like that one is on the inside. So I'm just going to put a little glue here. And just put this in the corner. There we go. All right, so now let's put together our focal point here on the front. So I'm going to glue this one down first. So a little bit of glue is all we need. And I'm just going to put it right here. And then we'll do our tall one next. And we'll put it like so. And then we're going to put our flower here. Like so. Okay, so next we're going to put our Thinking of You down here. And I want to put some twine or linen thread around here. So I saw someone do this trick and I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Okay, so what I want to do first is I want to put a dimensional, actually, no I don't. I'm just going to put some tear and tape here. So here's the brilliant thing. So just put a little tear and tape. I'm just going to put it down right here, like so. It's going to be underneath my sentiment. So I'm just going to peel this off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my linen thread, and instead of tying a bow, I'm just going to lay it out as though it was tied, but it's going to stick onto the tear and tape. So I'm just going to do that here. So there's my one loop, and then here's my other loop, and then I'll just snip this off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dimensional. I'm actually going to put a dimensional here, and then let's see, one on the very end here. I'm just going to line mine up to the edge here. And there you go. Now let's use our ombre dots wherever I put mine to embellish. I guess they're gone. They're missing an action here. Aha! So I'm just going to add a few embellishments here to top us off. Take your pick tool and just pick up this big one here, down here, and then one up here, and then let's do one. We can do one down here as well. So there you go. So very fun and beautiful card, simple to make, using lots of different elements and textures. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did enjoy this video, please like it and share it with your friends. Have a fun and crafty day, my friends. Thanks.